Mainstream history paints Queen Zenobia as a conventional military rebel, but underlying her geopolitical rise was a far more calculated, almost supernatural weapon. Behind the closed doors of Palmyra's Grand Palace, Zenobia did not just consult generals. She established a court governed by occult philosophers, elite mystics, and the legendary scholar Longinus. Academic records suggest that the sudden, brutal assassination of her husband, King Odenathus, was not merely a coup for power. It was a premeditated cleansing designed to fulfill an ancient prophecy. Zenobia weaponized the deep-seated spiritual beliefs of the Syrian desert tribes. Through her high-ranking astrologers, she systematically fabricated cosmic signs and divine solar decrees, convincing the fiercely independent Arab factions that the Roman Empire was cosmically destined to collapse under her feet. This was a masterful campaign of psychological warfare. She wasn't viewed as a mere temporary regent for her young son. She was revered as a divinely ordained living goddess destined to restore the East. By blending cold political assassination with calculated religious mystique, Zenobia secured absolute loyalty from warrior tribes who would traditionally never follow a female ruler. She transformed Palmyra from a fragile merchant oasis into a fanatical, unstoppable religious superpower before Rome even realized the daggers had been drawn. When Emperor Aurelian mobilized Rome's terrifying Iron Legions to crush the Desert Rebellion, he expected an easy victory over what Roman senators mockingly called a woman's army. They severely underestimated Zenobia's military innovation. Academic analysis of the Battle of Imi reveals that Zenobia didn't just fight Rome. She completely outsmarted their ancient tactical doctrines. She unleashed the Cataphracts, an elite, heavily armored cavalry where both rider and horse were encased in solid iron scales, functioning like ancient tanks. But her true genius lay in tactical deception. Zenobia ordered her heavily armored horsemen to engage the Roman light infantry, and then immediately feign a chaotic retreat into the scorching, brutal desert sun. The prideful Roman legions took the bait, chasing the retreating Palmyrines for miles under the suffocating, blistering heat. Dehydrated, exhausted, and weighed down by their heavy armor, the Roman formation fractured. That was exactly what Zenobia was waiting for. On her signal, the Palmyrine cavalry turned around with devastating speed, surrounding the suffocated Roman soldiers and executing a merciless slaughter. She weaponized the climate, turned Rome's aggressive pride against itself, and proved to the ancient world that Roman steel could be shattered by desert strategy. As the Roman siege tightened around the stone walls of Palmyra, the war shifted from the battlefield to a psychological chess match. Emperor Aurelian, privately terrified of a prolonged desert war and mounting casualties, sent a secret, highly classified letter to Zenobia. He offered her total amnesty, a luxurious life of exile, and the preservation of her city, if she simply bowed her head and surrendered. But Zenobia's response, preserved in obscure Imperial chronicles, was a masterclass in psychological humiliation. Written in defiant Greek, she openly mocked the Roman emperor. She reminded him that true monarchs do not beg for their lives, stating that Cleopatra preferred to die as a queen rather than live as a humble captive of Rome. She wrote, "You ask for my surrender as if you have already won. You forget that the desert belongs to me, and my Arab allies are coming to erase your legions." This letter shattered Aurelian's pride. When the text was leaked to the Roman Senate, it caused absolute political chaos. The Emperor of Rome had been publicly humiliated and rejected by a desert queen. This calculated letter sealed Palmyra's fate. It transformed a political conflict into a deeply personal, toxic vendetta for Aurelian, ensuring that only total destruction would satisfy Rome's wounded ego. The official Roman narrative states that Zenobia spent her final days as a peaceful Roman matron in a lavish villa, fading quietly into history. But modern academic investigations suggest a much darker, highly conspiratorial ending. Zenobia was too dangerous to be allowed to grow old. Even in exile, her palace in Tivoli became a secret hub for dissident Eastern intellectuals and politicians. The Roman Senate lived in perpetual terror that she would ignite a secondary, massive rebellion in Egypt and Syria. Multiple historical fragments suggest that Zenobia's sudden death was actually a calculated political assassination, A slow, untraceable poison slipped into her wine, masterminded by Roman elites who feared her enduring shadow. But the mystery deepens even after her death. Forensic archaeologists have noted that her suspected Roman tomb remains completely empty. Underground desert lore whispers of a daring late-night raid, where loyal Syrian merchants bribed Roman guards, exhumed her body, and smuggled her remains across the Mediterranean. They buried her deep beneath the shifting, nameless dunes of Palmyra. She escaped Rome in death, returning to the only kingdom she ever truly loved. Her golden chains are gone, but her ghost still rules the sands of the East. So, we leave you with one final question. Was Zenobia a heroic defender of Eastern freedom, or a tragic rebel whose fierce pride brought destruction to her own golden city? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The annals of history are full of stories that the world was never meant to hear. To unlock more hidden archives and uncover the untold secrets of ancient empires, subscribe now to Desert Monarchs. The desert is full of secrets, and we are just getting started.